Hey everyone, you'll notice that we have a new assignment. And again, on our PowerSchool, you're always going to go to activities and then assignments. And this is an income statement and balance sheet analysis. So income statement and balance sheet are two financial statements that are the ultimate goal really of first semester. Chapters 1 through 7 will be working on creating some documents in order to officially create an income statement and balance sheet at the end of the semester. So that is a financial statement that accountants would prepare to give to the owner of the business to give them an idea of how well the business is doing. What we're going to do is analyze two different companies' financial statements and see maybe if it was a company that you would want to invest in. So we're going to be using Yahoo Finance, which the instructions say right here, and you're going to be comparing two different companies that are in competition. So Apple and Microsoft is a good example. Maybe Nike and one of their competitors, McDonald's and one of their competitors, Target and one of their competitors. So the first thing you need to decide is what two companies are you going to use? Then you'll see down here at the bottom, we have different tabs. The first one says, just describe in detail in your own words both of the competing businesses. So you'd have business one. I'm going to use the example Apple. And then business two, Microsoft. And I'm going to go through how you'll find information to complete this document using Yahoo Finance. So in Yahoo Finance, you'll need to use this quote lookup. And I'm going to first just type in Apple. Something of note, if you are looking for a company like my favorite fast food restaurant, A&W, is actually owned by another company. So you'd have to look up Yum Foods. Yum Foods owns A&W, KFC, Long John Silver's. So if you're searching for one of your favorite stores or your favorite restaurants and it's not coming up, you might just want to do a quick Google search and type in who owns A&W. And you could read through here and find out that it's Yum Brands subsidiary. That means Yum Brands is the parent company that owns A&W. So if you are having a hard time finding it when you type in here, that could be part of the issue. So just keep that in mind. So I found Apple here, first one. And then we are going to be using these two tabs here, Profile and Financials. The first one, Profile, is where you're going to find all the information about your company. Now, of course, some of you, if you're choosing a company that's your favorite, you probably know some things about it. But this goes a little bit more in detail. So if I scroll down here on Profile, it gives a really detailed description of what Apple does. So I would take that information, come in here, and in 3 to 4 sentences in my own words, explain what Apple is. Okay? And you'll do that for both companies. And again, it's in the instructions as well, but in Yahoo Finance, I'm on Apple's page and I go to Profile. So that is our first tab. Our second tab right here is the income statement. So I'm going to stay with Apple here. So I would type Apple, and then I would type Microsoft. I'm finding the information for both of those companies. So the date, so we'll find that. I'm going to go to Financials. And I'm looking at the income statement. We'll look at the balance sheet next. So for the income statement, the two most recent years that I have dates for, 9/30/2019 and 9/30/2018, I'll put those in there. And then I'm going to put the information in these boxes for each of those years. So total revenue, that's how much money they've brought in. Some might call that income or money brought into the business. So the total revenue, for Apple in 2019 was 260,174,000. These numbers are all in thousands. So that's crazy. That's 260,174,000. So we'll write them in here just as they are. 264, 174. All right, so that was for 2019. We'll get 2018 in there. So they actually went down a little bit. 265, 595, 1, 2. So if you are an executive for Apple, you might be looking at this, wondering, how did we go from 265, a typo there, to 260,000 in revenue? How did we bring in $5 billion less? So that's something that you're thinking about. And all these numbers are generated from accountants to make these financial statements. Next thing is cost of revenue. So we'll take those numbers exactly as they are. Just go right down the row. Gross profit, take those numbers, operating expenses, et cetera, et cetera. The goal of this financial statement is to find the net income, which is total revenue, subtract all those expenses, gives you your net income. That's your total profit. Okay, you'll do that for both companies. And then the final thing that you will do for both these companies is you will look at their balance sheet. The balance sheet tells you what assets, liabilities, and the total owner's equity. We're going to learn a lot more about these things, but just a quick summary of what assets are. Assets are things that you own. So that'd be things like cash, equipment, the inventory that you have. Total liabilities. Liabilities are loans. So do you owe money to the malls that you have your stores in? For Apple, that could be an example of a liability. And then the difference between those two, assets minus liabilities, will give you this total stockholders amount. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here. I'm looking at the income statement. Now I want to look at the balance sheet. And I get the numbers that I need there. You might need to expand that so it gets you your liabilities and your stockholders' equity separate. And you're going to use those numbers to complete the balance sheet. Notice that there's some questions at the bottom of those. So we kind of talked about this. Well, what could you draw? What conclusions could you draw? Well, Apple had $5 billion less in revenue. Is there something new that came out in 2018 that boosted their revenue? Maybe AirPods really took off in 2018, whatever it may be. So you're just kind of using some educated knowledge from these numbers that you found to compare Apple and Microsoft or whatever companies that you have. So that is what we're doing on this income statement and balance sheet. And at the end of the semester, we will be able to create our own income statement and balance sheet using all the knowledge that we've learned for the year.